Hello, welcome back to Sharpen Your Brain with Mental Mathematics Made Simple. In this video, we are continuing the tricks in multiplication. We've gotten to how to multiply any number by 10. To multiply any number by 10, just attach 0 at the end of the number and that is the answer. And this is a very cool deal because it's a very simple multiplication that I believe every student can do it without difficulty. We'll take few examples and see. So if we have 21 times 10, just attach 0 to 21 and you get 210. If you have 3 times 10, attach 0 and you have 30. If you have 412 times 10, you don't need to struggle, just attach 0 and say 4,120. And so multiplication of 10 is very simple. Try the following. The next is to look at the power rule of 11, the most interesting of all the tricks that we have. With this rule, you should be able to multiply 11 by any 2, 3, or 4-digit numbers, or etc., etc. You may practice this on paper first, and if you overcome it, you can do it mentally. But it's very simple. So we want to start by multiplying any 2-digit number by 11. To multiply any number by 11, we've said it earlier on that it's very easy and the most interesting part. But we know that if you see 1 times 11, we know that the answer always remains 11. If I say 2 times 11, we know the answer to be 22. If I say 4 times 11, the answer will give us 44. And that is very cool. If I say 8 times 11, we know the answer is 88. And so it's very easy to deal with 11 times a number between 1 and 10. But when I go something like maybe 10 times 11, I know for 10 times any number will just attach 0 to that number. And we normally load up to 11 times 11. And that will give us 121. But when the number goes beyond that, what is a trick that we can use to generate answers with ease? Example, if I have, let's say 13 times 11. Remember, I'm dealing with 11 times any number, or I can say 11 times 13. What I'll do is that I'll pick the 13 and open it apart. Now, when I open the 13 apart like this, I only add 1 plus 3, and that is 4. Put the 4 inside, and that is the result for 11 times 13. If I say 11 times 25, I'll open 2 and 5 apart. Add the two numbers. Add 2 plus 5, and that is 7. Put a 7 in between, and that is the answer. It means 11 times 25 will give me 275. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Again, if I have 11 times 81, what I'll do is that I'll open 8 and 1, add the two numbers, I get 9. Put a 9 inside. 891 is the answer for 11 times 81. And that is very beautiful. Let's see more examples. So if I say 52 times 11, or let me start by saying 11 times 52 because I'm dealing with 11. So let me start with that first. 11 times 52. I said I'll open 5 and 2 apart. Add the two numbers here. 7, and that is the answer. So 11 times 52 will give me 572. But it's a trick that you have to be very careful with. If I say 11 times 87, here you can guess the answer. We have 8 and 7 apart. If you add 8 plus 7, that gives you 15. But we can't put all the 15 in the middle. It won't work. So what we do is that mentally we can put 5 in here and quickly add the 1 to the immediate number, and that will give us 9. And so 11 times 87 is 957. And that is how this type of figures can be solved when you are multiplying it by 11. Let's take another example. If I have 11 times 48, here I have 4 and 8 apart. If I add 4 plus 8, the answer gives me 12. And since I can't put all the 12 in, I'll put my 2, then the carry 1 goes to the 4. And so then it will add up to the 4 to give me 5. So I have 528 as the answer for 11 times 48. And that is beautiful, isn't it? Go ahead and practice more. Keep practicing. Keep the numbers in your mind. Open them apart. Add the two numbers. Put the answer in between. And then you get your answer. The more you practice, the better you overcome this. Go ahead and practice more. Let's take 3-digit numbers multiplying 11. What if I have 11 times 132? I can do this mentally in few seconds without struggling. I'll just start with 1 and end with 2 because the last number is 2 and the first number is 1. You start with the first number and end with the last number. Then you add from right to left. So add 2 plus 3, and that is 5. Put a 5 there. Add 3 plus 1, and that is 4. Put a 4 here, and that is your answer. So 11 times 132 will give you 1,452. If I say 11 times 217, I will start with 2 and end with 7. Then from the right, I add 7 plus 1 is 8. Put the 8 to the next number after the 7. Then 1 plus 2, that is 3. So I write 3 here. And that is the answer for 11 times that. I think that's very interesting. I hope you enjoyed this. This can work for bigger numbers. If I have 11 times 278, then I will still start with 2 and end with 8. But here there's a trick here. If I add 7 and 8, it gives me 15. So I can put a 5 here. Then there will be carry 1. So I have 7 plus 2, and that will give me 9. 9 plus 1 is 10. So I'll put 0, and carry 1 goes here to give you the answer as 3,058 as the answer for 11 times 278. Okay. If I get even bigger number, let's say 23758, I can still multiply this mentally if I'm very smart to practice this. So I'll start with 2. Look as if all my numbers are starting with 2. I can even start with 4. It doesn't mean that all numbers should be 2. So I can, let's say, start with 4. So this number is 43,758. I will start with 4 and I will end with the 8. So start with 4 and end with the 8. Then I'll be adding as I write the answer. So 8 plus 5 is 13. So I'll put the 3 down. Carry 1. Remember? Carry 1. Then I come to 5 plus 7. 5 plus 7 is 12. 12 plus the 1, making 13. I still have carry 1. Okay? Then I come to 7 plus 3. 7 plus 3 is 10. 10 plus 1, 11. So I'll write 1. Carry 1. And the carry 1, because there's no number. Oh, sorry, there's another number to add here. So again, carry 1. So 3 plus 4 is 7. So 7 plus 1 is 8. So I can put the 8 here. So my final answer becomes 481,338. And that is the answer for multiplying this very huge number by 11. Go ahead and practice more. Try the following. Do this mentally and see your results. You can pause the video and do this. You can try these ones too. These ones have got carrying, so you can try this on your own and see. Even though not all of them, but most of them are involving that. You can try this. Pause the video and work on it. Try your best to use mental or do it mentally. Finally, you can try the following as well, involving 3-digit, 4-digit, and even 5-digit. You can practice on paper first and later try to do it mentally. The more you practice this mentally, you are sharpening your brain. In fact, you need to exercise your brain. It's very, very important if you want to rise up in the academia. You need to always practice something that will keep your brain always active. If you want to be academically good, you need consistent practice, exercising of the mind. If you need exercise for the body to keep the body healthy, then a student must always also do things that will train the brain, exercise the brain, and keep the brain active. And that is why mental mathematics is good for you. So count yourself blessed getting involved in this and keep doing it. Keep doing it. And one day you can do it better than all other people are doing. The next power rule we want to learn is the power rule of 12. How to multiply any number by 12 in few seconds without using pen and paper or calculator. And these are the steps involved. First, you multiply the number, the multiplicand, by 10, or just attach 0 to the number. Then you double the multiplicand. That is multiplying it by 2. Then add the first and the second answers to get the result. It's a bit complicated, right? But very simple. When we take example, you see how simple it is. Let's try example and see. Example. Let's say I have 12 times 6. This time I'm using the 12 as the multiplicand. So I'm going to deal with the multiplier. So I will first attach 0 to the multiplier, which means I'm multiplying it by 10, and that will give me 60. 60 is not the answer, so that will give me 60 first. Then I'll look at the 6 itself again and double it. When I double it, I get 12. Then I add these two numbers together mentally, which of course will give me 72. And so 12 times 6 is 72. Isn't that interesting? Again, if I have 12 times, let's say 8, I will just pick the multiplier here, attach 0 to it, and that will give me 80. So I'll keep 80 in mind. Then I'll double the 8. When I double 8, it's like more or less adding 8 to itself, and that will give me 16. So 16 plus 80. So it means the multiplication now turn into addition. 16 plus 80 is 96. And so 12 times 8 is 96. Something very complicated, you can reduce it to a simple addition, and that will make it simple. Let's say 12 times 13. So I'll attach 0 to the 13 and say 130. So I'll keep the 130 in mind. And then I will double the 13, which will give me 26. So I have 26 plus 130, and that will give me 156. You see that the reason why mental mathematics sharpens your brain or increase your memory is this. Because you are doing 130, you keep the 130 in mind. You are not writing it, it's in mind. Then you are doubling the 13 to get 26. So in mind, you want to concentrate on the 130 and then also concentrate on the 26 and add 26 to 130. Everything is done in the mind. And so whilst you sustain the answers in your mind, it means you are building concentration, you are building memory because you have to remember the numbers. And as you keep practicing this, your brains will be sharpening as well. And so you're going to be very, very good in academics. You see, sharpening your brain or mental mathematics is not only helping you with math. When your brains are very sharp, you'll be very good in science, social, English, or all other subjects. So go ahead and let's practice this. Don't feel lazy to do it. Sometimes it's quite challenging to let the brain go through the stress, but you need to stretch the brain so that it will expand and become sharp and effective. You can't be a student without letting your brain work. So let's take 12 times. This time, let's take the number to, let's say, 25. So again, I'll keep 250 in mind. Then at the same time, I'll double the 25 and get 50. So in my mind, I'm going to do 250 plus 50, and the answer is 300. And so 25 times 12 is 300. Isn't that beautiful? So let's take another example and see. I have 12 times, let's say 33. Okay. So again, we are going to keep 330 in our mind, 330 in our mind. And then we double 33. So that will give you 66. So the 66 will be in your mind, then you add it to the 330. So 330 plus 66 will give you 396. And that is a very wonderful trick in multiplying any number by 12. There are more examples for you to try your hands on, but then as you keep practicing, you get over it. You can try the following. Make sure you do them mentally so that you can check your answer with either calculator or any other means to get the answer checked. Keep practicing, and I hope you are going to get over it. Let's move to the next trick. We are supposed to go for 13, 14, then 15. But for 13 and 14, the tricks involved will come under general multiplication of two-digit number by one-digit number. And so there I will explain things for you to know how to multiply easily a number by 13, 14. But there is a power rule of 15, which is also very, very easy. So we want to go to that. So that will be the last trick under this very session. They'll move to a different aspect. Okay, so for the power rule of 15, this is what power rule of 15 says. With this rule, you will learn how to multiply any number by 15 mentally. To multiply a number by 15, treat 15 as 10 plus 5 and do two simple multiplication. That is, multiply by 10 and multiply by 5. And these are the steps involved. First, multiply the number by 10 or attach 0 to the number that is multiplying the 15 and keep the answer for a moment. Then you multiply the same number by 5 by using the rule of 5, which we've done already. Then you add the two answers in both steps, and that will give you the answer. So we'll try example and see. So when I have 15 multiply, let's say 6, what I'll do is that I'll multiply this 6 by 5, which of course we've learned how to multiply a number by 5. I'll divide mentally the number by 2, which will give me 3, and attach 0. That is because it's even number. And so 6 times 5 is 30. Then I'll keep the 30 and attach 0 to the original 6, which will be 60. So 60 plus 30 will give me 90. And so 15 times 6 is 90. If I say 15 times, let's say 12, I'll first say that 12 times 5 is 60. Then 60 plus 120, because I'm going to attach 0 to this number and get 120. So 120 plus 60 will give me 180. And so 15 times 12 is 180. That's a very cool. Let's say 15 times 23. Now, 23 is odd number. So if to multiply 23 by 5, I only subtract 1 from 23 and attach 5, right? After dividing. So 23 less 1 or minus 1 is 22. Divided by 2 will give me 11. And so for 23 times 5, I'll get 115. So I'm now going to do 115 plus 130. And so I have 230 rather. 230 plus 115. 230 plus 115. This is what I'm going to do mentally. If you master it, you can do it without writing anything down. And so the answer is going to give us 345. And so 15 times 23 is 345. Okay. Again, let's say we have 15 times 32. And here I'm going to do 32 times 5, which will give me 160, because 32 divided by 2 is 16. And so I'll get 160. So 160 plus 320. And mentally, I can say 320 plus 160 will give me 480. And so the answer will be 480. Lastly, we can also say that 15 times, maybe let's take a bigger number like 75. Now for 75 times 5, I know I'm going to say 74 divided by 2. And of course, 70 divided by 2 is 35. And 4 divided by 2 is 2. So 75 divided by 2. So that will be 37, right? And so 37, because it's an odd number, I will attach 5. So I'll get 375. So I have 375, and I'm going to add it to 750 because I will attach 0 to this number. Now, this is a very big number to add, but we are going to do mental addition, and then you see some tricks. So what I'll do is that I'll first add the 300 to the 750, and I'll get 1050. And 1050, then I will add the 75 to 1050, and that will give me 1001.25. So I'll get 1001.25. It's a big deal, but as you keep practicing, you will overcome this, and you'll be proud of yourself if you can do multiplication of 15 by. Keep practicing this. Pause the video and once again do it on your own and check your answers whether they are correct with calculator. The next we want to look at is multiplying up to 20 by 20 mentally. Now what we want to do here is that we want to learn how we can multiply two numbers from 11 to 19 in our head without calculator. That means we want to look at something like 13 times 14 or 11 times 13 or 17 times 19. That means all numbers between 11 and 19, if you are to multiply them, what will be the result? And so here the trick is that we first keep the larger number of the two numbers, that is the multiplier and the multiplicand, in our mind. We take the unit or the last digit of the lesser number and add it to the larger number. We then multiply the answer by 10. That is, we attach 0 behind it. We then multiply the unit in both numbers. Add that to the answer, then we multiply the rest by 10, and so the result will come. Looks so complicated, it's a lot, but with practice you can do this. Let's see example. Example is this. I have 13 times 14. So the larger number, the 13 and 40, which one is big? Is 14. So I'll keep the whole 14 in mind. And I'll add the unit number for the other number, that is the multiplicand. So I'll add a 3 to the 14, and that will give me 17. So I will attach 0 quickly to the 17, and I'll keep that as 170. So when I have 170, then I have the unit for the both sides, that is 3 and 4. I'll multiply 3 times 4, which will give me 12, and add to the 170. So I'll add a 12 to the 170, and I'll get 182. And so 14 times 13, or 13 times 14, is equals to 182. It's very simple. Let's try another one. Let's say I have 13 times 16. Remember, we are dealing with multiples of numbers between 11 and 19. So all those numbers that we are going to multiply that have 1 in the beginning, that means each of the two numbers has got 1 in their beginning. They are in teens. Let's say 11, 12, 13, 14, 15s and stuff. And so 11, 12, 13 times 16. Because 16 is bigger number, I'll keep the 16 and add a 3 here to the 16, and that will give me 19. And so I'll call it 190 because I will attach 0 to that. So 190 will be in my mind. Then I quickly multiply the 3 and then the 6. And 3 times 6 is 18. So 18 plus 190. And I know when I add a 10, I'm going to get 200. Then the 8 will give me 208. And so 13 times 16 is 208. Now, sometimes the addition becomes more complicated, but don't worry. As you keep watching this video, we'll get to simple addition, or how to add numbers in a very simple way. And I'll teach you the trick involving addition. Let's take another example. Now, let's take a number like 16 times 17. And here, once again, 17 is a big number, or is the biggest among them. I mean, 16 and 17, 17 is bigger. So I'll keep the 17 in mind. And I'll add the 6 here to the 17, which will give me, so I want to do it mentally without writing it down, like what you're supposed to do. So 17 plus 6 is 23. And so I'm going to attach 0 and say 230. So 230 is in my mind. Then I'll multiply 6 times 7, which is 42. And 42 plus 230 will give me 272. Right. I think that's very cool. So you can go ahead and try your hands on numbers between 11 and 19. So you can think of 12 times 19 or 11 times 90. But if you come to 11, there's a trick for that. So there's no need for you to bother yourself by going through this method. And if you come to 12 too, there's another trick for it. And even 15. So apart from those numbers that have got some special tricks, you can use this trick to multiply any number between 11 and 19. And as you keep doing this, I believe it's going to help you to overcome mental mathematics. So with this particular part, we want to end this particular video. I want to end this part by saying that it will be the part 3 of the Sharpen Your Brain deal. Our next video, we are going to look at how to square numbers. How to square numbers before we come to the general multiplication of a number by any number without using any trick. But I want to see how we can do that in a very simple way. So come out or watch out for the next video and see what you can learn.